Have you ever found yourself caught in a moment where saying nothing seemed like the hardest thing to do? The world around us is filled with noise, constant chatter, opinions and distractions. In such a world, silence is often seen as something awkward or uncomfortable. But what if I told you that silence, in certain moments, holds the key to clarity, strength and peace? In this video, we're diving deep into why silence matters, especially in 7 critical situations where saying less is actually saying more. The Stoics, who valued wisdom over impulse, understood the profound power of silence. To them, it wasn't just about not speaking. It was about choosing when to speak and when to let silence do its work. The ancient philosophers knew that in moments of anger, confusion, or conflict, our words often cloud our judgment. They understood that silence isn't a sign of weakness, but rather an inner strength, a space where reflection, control, and true understanding can emerge. Now think about it. When life gets overwhelming, how often do you pause to simply breathe, to listen, to gather your thoughts? It's in those moments of stillness that we connect more deeply with our true selves. And the wisdom of Stoicism teaches us that in times of turmoil or uncertainty, it is often silence that leads to the calm we seek. So, in the next few minutes, I'll guide you through 7 situations where silence can be your greatest ally. Each one offers a unique lesson on how embracing stillness can empower you to lead better, to love more deeply, and to live with purpose. As we go through this journey, let's remind ourselves, silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of wisdom. Let's discover how silence, when embraced thoughtfully, can transform the way we navigate the world around us. Are you ready to listen? Let's begin. Part 1. Silence as a tool for self-control. Have you ever been in a moment of intense frustration where your emotions are about to burst and every fiber of your being is urging you to speak, to lash out, to let the world know exactly what you're feeling? In those moments, silence feels impossible. But what if I told you that in those very moments, silence could be the most powerful tool you have at your disposal? When you're facing anger, disappointment, or even fear, your emotions can overwhelm you. Your thoughts race, and your body responds almost instinctively. It feels like you have no control, like the floodgates are about to open. But here's the thing, silence, in those critical moments, can be the space you need to regain control, to pause, breathe, and choose your next step consciously. Imagine just for a moment that you stop in the middle of your reaction. You hold back from speaking, not because you're afraid, but because you're gathering your strength. You let silence fill the space instead of your words. And in that stillness, you reclaim your power. Self-control isn't about suppressing your emotions or denying your feelings. It's about recognizing that you, and only you, have the power to decide how you respond. In the heat of the moment, silence offers you the ability to detach, to create space between the stimulus and your reaction. This isn't just a moment of quiet, it's a moment of immense strength. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, spoke of the importance of controlling our impulses. He understood that our immediate reactions, when unchecked, could lead us to make decisions we'd regret later. Silence gives you that moment to step back and consider, what is the most meaningful thing to do right now? Is it to lash out, to give in to your frustration? Or is it to choose a response that reflects the calm and control you desire to embody? You see, Silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It means choosing to do something different, something that aligns with your higher purpose, not your fleeting emotions. It's the pause that allows you to choose wisdom over impulse. It's the silence that gives you the power to control your emotions instead of letting them control you. In that space of silence, you reconnect with your inner strength. You remember that, regardless of what's happening around you, you are the one in charge of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And that's where true self-control lies. Not in suppressing your feelings, but in understanding them and allowing yourself to respond with clarity. Think about how many times you've said something in the heat of the moment that you later wished you hadn't. The words are out there, and no matter how much you want to take them back, you can't. Silence, on the other hand, gives you the grace to pause and think before reacting. It allows you to speak with intention, to choose words that reflect the person you want to be. A person who is grounded, composed, and wise. This isn't always easy, I know. But when you realize that every moment of silence is an opportunity to strengthen your self-control, it becomes something you actively seek. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you are teaching yourself to master your emotions. You are showing yourself that you don't have to be a slave to your impulses. And here's something even more powerful. In those moments of silence, when you hold back from responding immediately, you give yourself the space to choose your best self. You begin to trust in your ability to control your reactions. And with time, this will shape the way you navigate the world. Silence becomes not just a tool for self-control, but a source of personal growth. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation that triggers you, a moment when your heart races, your thoughts get clouded, and your emotions scream for release, remember this: silence is your ally. It's not a sign of weakness. It's the strength of knowing that you have the power to pause, to reflect, and to choose your response. In that silence, you find your greatest self-control. The more you practice this, the more you'll notice how much calmer, more centered, and more in control you feel. And that feeling, it's the quiet strength that comes from within. It's the wisdom of silence, guiding you to become the best version of yourself. Part 2. Silence in conflict resolution. Have you ever been caught in the middle of a heated argument where every word feels like it's cutting deeper? Every point seems to fuel the fire. It's easy to get swept away in those moments. The tension builds, the emotions run high, and before you know it, you've said things you didn't mean. Things that only make the situation worse. But what if, instead of reacting immediately, you chose silence? What if, in the midst of conflict, you took a step back? Not because you were avoiding the issue, but because you were choosing a better way to resolve it. In conflict, silence isn't about being passive or weak. It's about harnessing your inner strength to stay grounded and present, even when everything around you is telling you to fight back. It's about recognizing that the words you choose in these moments have the power to either escalate the situation or calm the storm. You might think that silence in conflict means giving up or backing down. But the truth is, silence can be your most powerful tool. It allows you to gain perspective, to listen more deeply, and to approach the situation with a clear mind. When you remain silent, you give yourself the space to understand the situation better, to really hear what the other person is saying, and to avoid making impulsive decisions that could lead to regret. In the heat of conflict, your emotions often cloud your judgment, You might feel the need to prove your point, to make the other person see things from your perspective. But when you choose silence, you stop the cycle of escalation. You create the room for both sides to be heard, for understanding to emerge, and for resolution to begin. Imagine this. Instead of immediately defending yourself or countering every argument, you pause. You take a deep breath and listen. You observe the situation with clarity, not clouded by your own emotions. In that moment of silence, you give yourself the chance to understand not just the words being said, but the feelings beneath them. You begin to see the bigger picture. And from that place of understanding, your response is different, more measured, more compassionate, and more likely to lead to resolution. Conflict isn't about winning or losing. It's about finding a way through the disagreement, to come out the other side with your dignity intact and the relationship still strong. Silence helps you do that. It's the space where you can take a step back, reflect, and consider how best to approach the situation. It's the moment where you realize that your peace of mind is more important than being right. You've probably been in situations where a quick retort or a sharp response only made things worse. The tension rises, both parties become defensive, and before long, there's no room for understanding. But when you practice silence in these moments, you create an opportunity to break that cycle. You allow space for both yourself and the other person to reflect, to breathe, and to reconsider your positions. Think about the times when you've been able to resolve a conflict by simply holding back your words. You didn't engage in the back and forth. You didn't try to overpower the other person with your logic or your emotions. Instead, you paused. You waited. And when you spoke again, your words were chosen carefully, not to attack, but to heal and resolve. Silence doesn't mean you don't have a voice. It means you are using your voice with intention. You're choosing to respond with wisdom, not reaction. You're creating a space for the situation to cool, for both sides to regain composure, and for a true solution to be found. In the midst of conflict, your silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is the strength to hold your ground and choose how you respond. It is the strength to listen, to understand, and to approach the situation with a clear and compassionate heart. When you realize the power of silence in conflict, you begin to see it as a tool, not just for resolution, but for your own growth. Each time you choose silence instead of reacting impulsively, you strengthen your ability to stay calm under pressure. You build your emotional intelligence, and you become someone who can navigate conflict with grace and dignity. So, the next time you find yourself in a conflict, remember this: silence isn't avoidance. It's a conscious choice to create space for understanding, to choose your words carefully, and to move towards resolution. In that silence, you become the master of the situation, not by overpowering the other person, but by choosing peace over chaos. And in doing so, you not only resolve the conflict, you grow stronger in the process. Part 3. Silence in personal reflection and growth. Have you ever found yourself in a moment of quiet, when everything around you slows down, and you have nothing but your own thoughts? In those rare moments of stillness, you may feel a deep sense of discomfort. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the noise of life, the demands, the expectations, the constant rush. But it is in this very silence that you may find the key to your personal growth. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is a space where you can truly hear your own thoughts. It's a place where you can listen to your innermost self, the part of you that often gets drowned out by the noise of everyday life. It is in the silence that you have the chance to reflect, to look inward, and to truly understand who you are and who you are becoming. Think about a time when you faced a challenge, a moment of uncertainty. Maybe it was a decision you had to make or a difficult situation that left you feeling lost. In that moment, it was easy to feel the pressure to act, to speak, to do something, anything, to find clarity. But sometimes, the greatest clarity comes not from taking immediate action, but from stepping back, being silent, and allowing yourself the time to process everything inside of you. In these quiet moments, you can ask yourself the hard questions. What is it that I truly want? What fears am I holding on to? What beliefs are guiding my actions? The answers don't always come quickly, but with silence, you give yourself the space to explore these questions without rushing. You begin to unravel the layers that have been built over time, layers of expectation, of doubt, of habits, and you begin to see yourself more clearly. When you give yourself the gift of silence, you're not avoiding your problems. You're facing them. You're giving yourself the space to reflect on your experiences, your emotions, and your growth. In this space, you can acknowledge the areas in your life where you've succeeded, and more importantly, the areas where you've struggled. Silence helps you understand these moments without judgment, but with the compassion you deserve. It allows you to learn from your past without being weighed down by it. This practice of reflection through silence isn't just about looking back, it's about looking forward too. It's about pausing long enough to ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? The world constantly pulls you in different directions, and without reflection, it's easy to lose sight of your true path. But in silence, you have the opportunity to realign with your own values, to reconnect with the vision of your best self. You might feel as though you're too busy to slow down. Life keeps moving, doesn't it? But silence doesn't have to be long or drawn out. It doesn't have to be a retreat into complete solitude. It can simply be a moment of stillness, an intentional pause in your day, where you close your eyes, take a breath, and check in with yourself. It's in these moments that you begin to see things more clearly, to hear your intuition guiding you, to tap into the wisdom that is already within you. Think about a time when you took a step back, just for a few minutes, and felt a sense of peace wash over you. Maybe it was after a difficult decision or a time of emotional turmoil. In that silence, you may have found clarity. You may have realized that you already knew what to do, but the noise of the world had been drowning out your inner voice. Now imagine if you made silence a regular part of your life. What would happen if you intentionally gave yourself time each day to reflect? To sit with your thoughts and let them flow freely without interruption. You might discover insights about yourself that you didn't even know were there. You might uncover desires and dreams that have been buried beneath the noise of your daily life. Personal growth doesn't always come from action or achievement. Sometimes it comes from the stillness, from the moments when you're not doing anything at all, but simply being. In silence, you give yourself permission to stop striving and start being. You allow your mind and soul the space to grow, to evolve, and to heal. Silence in reflection is not about running away from your thoughts or emotions. It's about embracing them, understanding them, and using them as a guide for your journey. The more you practice this, the more in tune you become with your true self. You begin to trust your own wisdom, to understand your own needs, and to recognize your own strength. In the silence, you discover the most powerful version of yourself. You learn to listen to your heart, to trust your instincts, and to make decisions that are aligned with your true values. The journey of personal growth is not always about doing more, but about being more present with who you truly are. And it is in silence where you find the clarity to do just that. Part 4. Silence as a path to clear thinking. In a world that moves faster each day, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You're bombarded with information, decisions, and distractions. The constant noise can cloud your mind, making it harder to think clearly. But what if the answer isn't in doing more, but in doing less? What if silence, a simple pause in the chaos, is the key to unlocking the clarity of thought you've been seeking? Think about it for a moment. How often do you take the time to truly pause? Not just to stop and check your phone or scroll through social media, but to truly sit in stillness and allow your mind to clear. In the silence, your mind has space to breathe. It's in this space that you find the clarity to think more clearly, to make better decisions, and to understand your true desires. You may have experienced moments when everything felt muddled, decisions that seemed impossible to make, confusion about your next step, or simply a sense of being lost in the noise of life. In those moments, the answer isn't to keep pushing forward, trying to force clarity to appear. Instead, it's about stepping back, embracing the silence, and letting your mind unwind. When you give yourself permission to be silent, you're allowing your mind to reset. The constant barrage of external voices fades away, and for the first time in a long while, you can hear your own thoughts. In this silence, you begin to see things more clearly. Your mind is no longer cluttered with the noise of the world, but instead, it is free to focus on what truly matters. You've likely been in situations where your thoughts were clouded by emotions or external pressures. In these moments, it's hard to think logically or make a decision that aligns with your true values. But when you embrace silence, you give yourself the chance to process your feelings and thoughts without rushing to judgment. You give yourself the space to see the situation from a clearer perspective, to break through the noise and focus on what's truly important. In this space of silence, you don't need to force answers to appear. They come naturally. Your thoughts align with your intuition, and suddenly the path forward seems more obvious. You begin to trust your own judgment again, and in doing so, you empower yourself to make decisions with greater confidence. The clarity that comes from silence isn't always loud or dramatic. Often it's a quiet knowing that simply arises when you allow yourself the time and space to think deeply. One of the most profound aspects of silence is that it allows you to quiet the inner critic. So many of us live with a constant voice in our heads that judges, criticizes, and second-guesses every move we make. This inner noise can make it difficult to think clearly, because it's drowning out your true voice. Silence gives you the chance to distance yourself from that inner chatter. It helps you find your authentic thoughts, your real feelings, without the constant barrage of negativity or self-doubt. By embracing silence, you allow your mind to regain its natural focus. Think about the last time you had a moment of stillness, a time when you were able to sit quietly and reflect. In those moments, didn't your mind begin to clear? Didn't the fog start to lift? In silence, you reconnect with your true self, the person who doesn't need to be constantly reacting to the world around them. You connect with your core, your sense of purpose, and your ability to think clearly. This is the power of silence. It clears the mental clutter and allows you to approach problems with a fresh perspective. It doesn't matter how complex the decision is, or how many conflicting opinions are out there. In the silence, you find the calm you need to center yourself and think with clarity. The noise stops, and your mind becomes a tool for focused, intentional thought. You may find that as you begin to embrace silence more often, your decision-making becomes sharper. You stop feeling overwhelmed by the pressure to act immediately, and instead you learn to trust the process of thinking through things slowly and intentionally. In silence, you give yourself the gift of time to process, time to reflect, and time to decide with clarity. The beauty of silence as a path to clear thinking is that it doesn't require anything from you except your willingness to be present. You don't need to achieve anything or perform any special mental exercises. All you need to do is embrace the quiet, let go of the distractions, and trust that in the stillness, clarity will emerge. So, the next time you feel lost or unsure, remember that silence is your ally. It's the tool you can turn to when your mind feels crowded and confused. In the silence, you will find your answers, not in a rush, but in the gentle unfolding of your thoughts. The clarity you seek is already within you. You just need the space to hear it. Part 5. Silence in dealing with criticism. Criticism, it's something we all face at one point or another. Whether it's from a colleague, a loved one, or even a stranger online, it can sting, sometimes deeply. You might find yourself reeling from the harsh words, questioning your worth, or doubting your choices. It's easy to become defensive, to react immediately, and to want to justify yourself. But here's something powerful to consider. Silence, your silence, may be the most empowering response in these moments. Think about a time when you were criticized. Perhaps it was harsh or even unjust. In that moment, did you feel the urge to speak out, to defend yourself, to explain? It's completely natural to want to do so, to protect your pride, to ensure that others understand you. But in doing so, you often end up getting tangled in the noise, losing the opportunity to respond with clarity and strength. When faced with criticism, silence can be your greatest tool. It's not about being passive or ignoring the issue, but about giving yourself the space to process, to evaluate, and to choose how you want to respond. Instead of reacting immediately from a place of emotion, you can pause just for a moment and consider the message beneath the criticism. Is there truth in it? Does it offer you something to learn from? Or is it simply someone else's projection of their own feelings? In these moments, silence is not weakness, it's strength. It's the power to stop and center yourself before saying anything. It's the ability to step outside of the immediate emotional reaction and take a breath. By doing so, you don't allow yourself to be swept away by the tides of anger or frustration. You regain control over the situation, and most importantly, you regain control over yourself. Silence gives you the clarity to assess whether the criticism is valid or if it's merely a reflection of the critic's own insecurities or biases. You don't have to accept every word that comes your way, but you do have the power to listen carefully, evaluate its merit, and then decide how to respond. By taking a step back and allowing the silence to work its magic, you create space to choose a response that aligns with your true self, rather than reacting from a place of hurt or defensiveness. The beauty of silence in the face of criticism is that it provides you with the opportunity to reflect, to consider whether your reaction is truly in line with your values and who you want to be. When you give yourself the gift of silence, you allow yourself the time to act with intention, rather than with reaction. And this is where true strength lies. You might find that when you embrace silence, your initial emotional response fades. The sting of the words, the temptation to argue or lash out, they lose their power over you. In the stillness, you create a space where you can respond thoughtfully and with grace. You don't need to explain yourself or justify your actions. The silence speaks for you. It conveys that you are calm, that you are in control, and that you are not easily rattled by the opinions of others. In dealing with criticism, silence allows you to hold your ground without engaging in a battle. It's not about shutting others down, but about respecting yourself enough to not allow their words to dictate your emotional state. You become a reflection of inner strength, choosing not to be pulled into an exchange that drains you or takes away from your peace. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that we cannot control the actions or opinions of others, but we can control how we respond. Silence is the perfect response when you want to maintain your dignity and composure. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about approaching it with the clarity and wisdom that silence provides. When you remain silent, you allow yourself to listen fully, to digest the criticism without being swept up in the emotions of the moment. This empowers you to respond in a way that is thoughtful and composed. Remember, silence is not the absence of power. It is the presence of self-control. When you choose silence in the face of criticism, you are affirming your own strength, your own sense of worth. You are showing that you do not need external validation to know who you are. The silence you choose in these moments speaks louder than any words ever could. It's a powerful reminder that your peace, your confidence, and your integrity come from within. And no one, no matter how critical they may be, can take that from you. So the next time you're faced with criticism, remember, you don't need to react. You don't need to defend yourself. In the quiet space of your silence, you will find your power, your clarity, and your true response. Trust that in the silence, you will always find the strength to handle anything that comes your way. Part 6. Silence in Leadership and Authority Leadership. It's not just about guiding others. It's about the strength, wisdom, and integrity you bring to the table. As a leader, whether in your personal life, at work, or in a larger community, your words have weight. Your decisions carry consequences, and the way you choose to communicate, or not, can shape the culture around you. But what if I told you that silence could be one of the most powerful tools in your leadership toolbox? Think about the moments when you've had to lead. Have you ever found yourself caught in the rush of needing to speak, needing to offer advice, or needing to show that you have the answers? It's easy to feel that pressure. After all, a leader is expected to have all the right things to say at the right time. But in the quiet, in the moments of pause, there is an even greater form of leadership waiting for you to tap into. Silence allows you to step back and provide space for clarity, understanding, and true authority. When you practice silence as a leader, you show those around you that you don't need to dominate every conversation. You don't need to fill the air with words. Instead, you demonstrate that you are confident in your actions and that your presence alone speaks volumes. True leadership isn't about shouting over others or trying to assert your dominance through constant communication. It's about the strength to lead with calm, to offer a steady hand in times of uncertainty, and to allow your actions, not just your words, to lead the way. You've probably seen leaders who are quick to speak, always in the spotlight, always eager to be heard. But have you ever noticed the ones who speak less and observe more? There's a certain power in their quiet. It's in their ability to listen, really listen, to the voices around them. It's in their restraint, knowing that they don't always need to answer immediately or fill every silence with their opinion. They create an environment where others feel heard, valued, and respected. And that's something powerful. As a leader, your silence can set the tone. It can invite others to think, to reflect, and to come to their own conclusions. When you speak less, you create space for others to step up, to offer their insights, and to contribute in meaningful ways. By giving others the room to think and respond, you foster an environment of collaboration and growth. People will look to you not for your words, but for your example. They will respect the power of your silence, because they will know that it comes from a place of deep self-assurance, not insecurity. Moreover, silence in leadership isn't about withdrawing or being passive. It's about creating intentional pauses. Pauses that allow you to reflect before making decisions, to understand the weight of your words before speaking them. It's about taking a moment to consider how your words will impact others and whether your contribution will add value to the conversation. These moments of silence allow you to act with integrity, knowing that your leadership is grounded in wisdom, not impulse. Think about a situation where you're faced with a difficult decision, perhaps one that could impact your team or your community. In the midst of that pressure, it might feel overwhelming to respond immediately, to say something, anything, just to keep the ball rolling. But in those moments, silence can give you the clarity you need. It allows you to pause, to check in with yourself, and to make a choice that aligns with your values and the greater good. By leading with silence, you are not removing yourself from the situation. You are elevating your ability to lead with purpose and intention. You are giving yourself the space to act with wisdom, to choose your words carefully, and to lead with a calm authority that inspires others to do the same. Leadership is not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most present. It's about being grounded in your values, your vision, and your purpose. When you use silence as a tool, you show that you are not swayed by the noise around you. You remain focused, thoughtful, and deliberate in your actions. And in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. Remember, silence is not absence, it's presence in its purest form. When you embrace silence in leadership, you choose to lead from within. You choose to show strength through calm, clarity through restraint, and authority through the quiet power of your actions. Trust in this power and watch how your leadership transforms the way those around you see you and the impact you have on the world. Part 7. Silence in the pursuit of inner peace. There are moments when life feels overwhelming. The noise, the constant demands, the pressure to keep moving, keep achieving, it all weighs on you. But in the midst of this chaos, there is one simple yet powerful tool you have at your disposal: silence. Silence isn't just about stopping the noise around you. It's about finding a quiet place within yourself, where peace can grow and where your true essence can be felt. And this inner peace, it's something that you can cultivate. The silence you create within yourself is the path that leads to the tranquility you've been searching for. You've probably experienced those days when your mind is racing, when thoughts spin endlessly, pulling you in 1,000 directions. In those moments, it feels as though peace is just out of reach, doesn't it? But what if the key to finding that peace lies in the very silence you often shy away from? What if, instead of trying to fight the noise, you leaned into it, embraced it, and allowed it to lead you inward? Think about a time when you took a moment to simply breathe, to let go of the rush, and to sit quietly with yourself. Maybe it was for just a few minutes, or maybe a little longer. In that stillness, did you notice how your thoughts began to settle? The world outside seemed to fade, and all that was left was the present moment. That moment of silence. It was a glimpse of the peace that lies within you, waiting to be uncovered. Silence, in its truest form, is not about avoiding the world or ignoring what's happening around you. It's about turning down the volume of the external noise so you can finally hear your own heart. When you allow yourself to sit in silence, you create space for your mind to quieten, your body to relax, and your soul to reconnect with itself. It's in this space that your inner peace can emerge, untouched by the chaos around you. But here's the thing. Inner peace isn't something you find once and then never have to worry about again. It's something you have to choose every single day. It's a practice, a commitment to yourself. And silence, that beautiful, powerful silence, is the practice that helps you return to that peace over and over again. Every time you make the choice to step away from the noise, even if just for a few moments, you are choosing yourself. You're choosing to honor your need for stillness, for clarity, for rest. In those moments, you allow your mind to recalibrate, your emotions to find balance, and your spirit to reconnect with its deeper wisdom. It's in these moments of silence that you remember who you are, not who the world expects you to be. And here's the truth. You don't need a perfect environment to create this peace. You don't need to escape to a mountaintop or spend hours meditating. The beauty of silence is that it's always available to you. It can be found in the brief moments between meetings, during a walk, or even while sitting quietly at your desk. All you need to do is give yourself permission to be still, to listen to the quiet, and to reconnect with the peace that is already within you. In those moments of silence, you may feel a sense of calmness wash over you. You may feel your body release tension, your heart rate slow, and your breath deepen. It's as if, in that moment, you're reminded of your own power. You realize that you have everything you need to find peace, and that the noise of the world doesn't have to dictate your inner world. You are the one who gets to decide what you allow into your mind and what you let go of. So, I ask you, when was the last time you allowed yourself to sit in silence, truly present with your own thoughts and feelings? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to pause, to simply be? If you're ready to embrace this silence, to let go of the external chaos, and to reconnect with your own inner peace, then today is the perfect day to start. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Just start small. Find a quiet space, breathe deeply, and let yourself feel. The more you practice this, the easier it will become. And soon, you'll find that inner peace isn't something you have to chase. It's something you've always had, waiting for you to simply stop and listen. In the end, silence isn't just about what you stop hearing. It's about what you start feeling. It's the quiet where your inner peace resides, and it's the quiet that will help you stay grounded, no matter what the world throws your way. You have the power to access that peace anytime you choose. So, choose silence. And watch how it transforms the way you experience yourself and the world around you. Conclusion. As you've journeyed through this exploration of silence, you may have realized that it's not merely the absence of sound, it's a powerful, transformative force in your life. Silence isn't something to fear or avoid. It's a tool that, when embraced, allows you to unlock a deeper connection to your true self. You've seen how silence can sharpen your self-control, guide you through conflict, spark personal growth, bring clarity to your thoughts, help you handle criticism, empower your leadership, and most profoundly, lead you to inner peace. Now, it's time to take what you've learned and apply it. The next time life feels overwhelming, when you're faced with criticism, or when your mind is racing, remember the power of silence. Take a moment to pause, breathe, and find the stillness within. In these quiet moments, you'll find the strength to navigate challenges, the wisdom to lead with calm, and the peace to live more fully and authentically. Silence is always there, waiting for you to listen. It's not just about what you stop hearing, but what you allow yourself to feel, to understand, and to become. You have the power to choose silence. And in that silence, you will find your true strength. So, take a deep breath, embrace the quiet, and trust that in that space, everything you need is already within you.